Today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. We'll talk about topics like Kirk and Gavin Newsom sitting down for a podcast and agreeing on issues that no one thought they'd ever agree on. We get to finally get some insight from the two astronauts stuck in space on what's really happening. Matt Walsh talking about his snub at the Oscars, Nasdaq trading on the 24-hour market, Donald Trump Jr. potentially running for president. All that and much more on today's episode of America Unfiltered, episode 31 with James Pascalides, starting now.
The moment is here. This is our moment.
Okay, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. This is episode 31. I talked to you guys about my topics already, so I'm going to dive right on into them. First, I want to show you guys a video. This is something that it almost feels like it's a scene out of South Park. It does not feel real, but it is. And it's insane to watch. So I'm going to pop this video up for you guys, and then we can pick it apart after, because it feels almost impossible for me to explain it now without showing you guys the video first. So here's the video of Representative Stephen Cohen, and I don't even know what to call this.
Congressman, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Congressman, why should men be in women's sports?
Shorts?
Sports. Why do you think
They should not be in shorts.
Video cuts off there, but then he just rolls into the elevator. Neither of them say anything else. But it's hysterical to me that, a few things. One, it's hysterical to me that he pressed the button and then he rolls back away from him as if he's chasing him. It feels like something out of South Park, like a scene you'd see Mr. Garrison in. Like, just something absolutely ridiculous. I'm cracking up right now at just the thought of it. And then for him to, why do you, he's asking about women's sports, and he goes, I don't think they should be in shorts. They shouldn't be wearing shorts at all. He obviously could hear them, and he's just trying to get away from the question, not trying to have to answer it on the spot. That's why he's zooming away on his wheelchair there. But it's almost satirical and insane that this is a real video. I don't know how I'm laughing this hard. The whole thing feels hysterical to me, even though it's not. But it's crazy to me that this is our government. This is real life. This is what is going on right now. This is the kind of just BS we're talking about. This is, like, we need people in our government who can not only answer reporters' questions, but not just blatantly pretend like they didn't hear them. Not only is it disrespectful to the reporter, but it's disrespectful to the American people. It's disrespectful to people like me who are reporting on it. I'm still laughing about it because, again, I just keep picturing a South Park scene of Mr. Garrison in a wheelchair rolling away from a reporter pretending like he can't hear the questions, or Randy or someone like that. It just seems like a ridiculous scripted thing. It seems like something out of a cartoon TV show. It is so ridiculous. I do want to go on to our next topic. I just wanted to show you guys that real quick because I thought it was pretty hysterical, and I think it shows the lunacy of a lot of the Democrats in our government. But to go on to our next topic, I want to show you guys another video. So this video is of the astronauts stuck in space being interviewed, and they talk about the reasons why they were left in space, and not only that, they talk about how they were potentially saved, but Joe Biden said no. So I'm going to play that video for you guys now, and then we'll talk about it.
Our next question is from Aaron Gregg with The Washington Post.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for doing this. So my question relates to Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that, though, whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that you would be hoping for.
I think it's a huge shame that these astronauts have been stranded in space. It's a shame for their families. It's a shame for the American people, the American taxpayer, and to them as well, that for political reasons they were left and basically stranded in space. And it's not like you're just stranded, on a boat somewhere. You're stranded in space. They're the only people out there right now. It is a ridiculous thing that our government previously left them there, and then if it wasn't for the Trump administration and Elon Musk, we wouldn't be getting them back anytime soon. So I'm very glad we have people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump who want to bring these astronauts back to America. I think it's not only necessary, but it's something that the Biden administration should have done a very long time ago when Elon Musk offered his services to them to fly them back. It would have not only boosted the morale of Americans around the country, it would have been a success for Biden to allow him to do that, but he was so politically motivated against Elon Musk that he said no. I think Joe Biden's hatred and political motivations to go against Elon Musk really set Joe Biden back. They also tried to sue Elon Musk, Joe Biden did, over not hiring asylum seekers at SpaceX. But SpaceX is not allowed to hire asylum seekers because they work on rockets, which is government weapons technically. So it was a real catch-22 where they were sued by the Biden administration for not hiring asylum seekers, but legally they can't hire asylum seekers. So obviously Biden was just a corrupted president who hated Elon Musk, didn't want to help Elon Musk out, and because he didn't want to help Elon Musk out, he didn't help the American people out, and he didn't help American astronauts out. So I think it's disgraceful that Joe Biden did what he did. I think a lot of things Joe Biden did were disgraceful. We could talk forever about that. But I do want to head on over to our next topic. I do want to talk about the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq is now inquiring about trading on the 24-hour market. I really think that this would be huge around the world. The initiative seeks to accommodate international investors, adapt to increasing globalization of financial markets. A lot of the advances in different trading platforms and the rise in retail investors due to these things like Robinhood and things like that, they've paved the way for these extended hours. I really think it would be extremely positive for your average retail investor to be able to trade on the 24 market. I think we'll get a lot more people interested in it as well who don't know much about the stock market but are interested in learning. So as there's more updates on that, I will keep you guys updated. They haven't officially announced that it's happening yet, but they have been speculating that it will happen. For our next topic, I want to talk about Matt Walsh a little bit. I've talked about Matt Walsh before on my show. I think Matt Walsh is an excellent satirical political commentator. He's one of the best political commentators, I think, in the industry. He is not only one of the best political commentators, but he makes excellent movies as well. I'm a big fan of both of his movies, What is a Woman, and his new movie, Am I Racist? Am I Racist? If you haven't seen it, I urge all my listeners, you have to watch it. Probably one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's almost like a political Borat. I'm trying to think of how to put it in words, and I don't want to give anything away, but he basically goes undercover as a liberal, and he doesn't push the boundaries, but he allows liberals to expose their own hypocrisy in amazing, hysterical, satirical ways, and he just allows them to show how blatantly hypocritical they all are by them just talking. He just basically shuts up and lets them keep talking and ruin it for themselves. So it's a very funny thing. It's called Am I Racist? It's on his platform, The Daily Wire. But I do want to show you this video here where he talks about getting snubbed from the Oscars.
A movie called No Other Land won the Oscar for Best Documentary. It's apparently a movie about how Palestinians are supposedly oppressed or whatever. Then, of course, they won. What's funny is that all the headlines are saying how No Other Land was the highest grossing Oscar-nominated documentary of 2024, which is true. It grossed $420,000 in the U.S. But the Oscar-nominated bit is an important qualifier because, of course, our documentary, Am I Racist?, grossed more than the highest grossing Oscar-nominated documentary. Our film grossed 4 times as much on the first day of release than this movie did in its whole theatrical run.
I want to show you guys that clip because I want to show you just how dumb the rules for the Oscars and these different awards and things like that are. Because Matt Walsh didn't have a person of the LGBTQ community or a minority in a lead role in his film, he was not even nominated for an Oscar, even though, as he said there, on the first night alone, they had 4 times the gross sales on the film. that the person who won the Oscar had. So it's obviously ridiculous. It's obviously a little rigged. They obviously don't want certain people to win. They have a very specific criteria to win. And it's, again, it doesn't follow the values that we followed in America forever, that just a merit-based system, that the best thing is going to win for that category, and we're not going to say, oh, because you don't have a black or gay person as the lead role, we're not going to allow you to win. I think that's a ridiculous set of criteria for a movie award show. I don't think your race or your sexual preferences have anything to do with how good of a movie. It's going to have to do with your actors, your plot line, your story, your writing, and things of that nature. So, as I said before, I urge all my viewers, go watch Am I Racist? One of the funniest movies I personally have ever watched. I 100% stand behind the film. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10 if I could. But I think it's one of the funniest, greatest movies. And again, it shows liberal hypocrisy in such a great way, because Matt Walsh doesn't have to push for it. He just lets them keep talking and ruin everything for themselves. So I do want to get into our last 2 topics today. First topic I want to talk about how Donald Trump Jr. is potentially running for president come 2028. I think this would be an excellent candidate. I think keeping the Trump name in the White House in D.C. is excellent for D.C. It will not only keep the bureaucrats away, but it will, all the things that Donald Trump is pushing for now, his son will also push for. Obviously, his son is his own man and might have some slightly different views than his dad, but for the most part, they're very aligned. Most of the Trump family is. And I think it would be a very smart political play for the Republicans to prop up Donald Trump Jr. as the Republican candidate, because it brings us to our last topic a little, where I think he will be going against Gavin Newsom. If I have to estimate, my best guess, the Democrats will prop up Gavin Newsom as the Democratic candidate for the United States, and I think he actually could be a good candidate for them. So for our last topic, I want to talk about Gavin Newsom and Charlie Kirk's interview they had. It really took me by surprise. So I personally have never been a fan of Gavin Newsom. I've seen countless interviews with him. I've read his policies and different things he does in the state of California. And not only do I disagree with the vast majority of it, but I don't think that, I really don't think he portrays himself too great. And then Charlie Kirk and him sat down for a podcast interview. It seemed that the reason they sat down for the interview was Gavin Newsom, he started a podcast, seeing that conservatives are having such success reaching younger audiences with podcasts in the United States. So Gavin Newsom approached Charlie Kirk wanting to do this podcast. They sat down for the podcast together, and they were able to talk about key issues. And Gavin Newsom seemed to be picking Charlie Kirk's brain about how Charlie Kirk has been so successful about reaching the younger audiences and how they've been able to move the vote over to the right so much. Charlie Kirk talks about how he had a goal over 10 years to move 10 points over from the left to the right, and he was able to do it in 4 years. And he says a lot of the reason they were able to do it is not even because of his efforts on the side pushing conservatives to try, or pushing people to be more conservative, but he said people like Gavin Newsom were pushing people over to the right even faster than they could bring them over to the right with their terrible policies. One of the things they specifically talked about was trans in sports, and how, men are biologically faster, stronger, things like that than women, so having them in women's sports is unfair. And Gavin Newsom, in my eyes, I thought he was going to take the complete opposite stance, say that no, it comes down to a issue on gender identity and gender politics. I thought he was going to get into all that stuff. But no, he agreed with Charlie Kirk. He said that it is unfair to have these biological men in women's sports, that it doesn't make sense to continue to push that. And not only is it unfair to women, but it's unfair to the families and all those things as well. So I was very surprised and very happy that Gavin Newsom took that stance. Really shocked me. I didn't think that was a stance that he had in him. And the reason I'm tying this into our last topic is because I think part of this is maybe he doesn't really think these things, but he's saying them to give himself a more moderate standpoint than the liberals have taken over the last few years, because I think he realizes how negative that's been for the liberals. So I think maybe he doesn't believe all this and he's just trying to position himself better for a presidential run come 2028. But if he does, that's great. I really do, like I said, I don't think men should be in women's sports. I think it's very hurtful to the women of those sports who work their entire lives to then either possibly get injured or lose to a male in their sport that they train for their entire life. So I really am glad that Charlie Kirk, I'm really glad that Gavin Newsom sat down for this conversation. The conversation's on YouTube, Spotify. I urge all my listeners to listen to it. It's on Gavin Newsom's channel. It's unedited, it seems, too, so I don't think any of my viewers have to worry about anything there. But it is a great, I don't know, it's really nice to see people from different sides of the aisle, especially controversial figures like Gavin Newsom and Charlie Kirk, who are excellent debaters. They love to go head-to-head with the other side of the aisle. It's great to see them be able to sit down and have an extremely civil conversation. So they didn't argue during the entire thing. They didn't fight. The most into it they got, the whole thing, was Gavin Newsom would continuously say like Jesus or Jesus Christ or things like that, and Charlie Kirk would have to continuously remind him not to take his Lord's name in vain because Charlie Kirk is a huge Christian. So, like I said, I think it's great when they're able to sit down civilly and have these conversations. I think that is the backbone of what makes America so strong, is that even though we disagree on so many things, we're able to come together in a bipartisan way, sit down together and talk about our issues without arguing, fighting, and name-calling, slandering, and doing all these things that the media loves to spin. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 31 of America Unfiltered. I'm signing off today. I hope you all have a blessed day and a blessed weekend, and I will see you guys Monday. Thank you.